Welcome to the Sci-Fi Continuum. I'm Stan, your narrator. Make sure you subscribe to our channel for more stories. The first thing I registered was the blinding flash of light, followed closely by the distinct feeling of my guts trying to rearrange themselves into a more aerodynamic configuration. I'd been adrift for what felt like weeks, just me, my rapidly dwindling nutrient paste, and the unsettling hum of a dying life support system. So, when the interior of my escape pod suddenly got brighter than a supernova, and then depressurized with a shriek that could wake the dead, I figured my luck had finally run out. Turns out, it was just beginning, in the most gloriously bizarre way possible. 1 minute I was a human popsicle. The next I was being hauled out by a creature that redefined my understanding of alien. She was tall, regal, and her lavender skin practically glowed under the ship's lights. Her blonde hair, styled in luscious curls, framed a face that was both exotic and undeniably beautiful. And her outfit? Well, let's just say if you wanted to showcase the absolute peak of crony fashion engineering, you'd put her in it. A silver corset-like top, high-cut bottoms that left little to the imagination, and a choker-style collar. It was less a uniform and more a public service announcement. I'd seen a lot of things out there in the black, but nothing quite prepared me for the sight of Captain Nino. "Easy there, human," her voice rumbled, a surprisingly husky sound that vibrated through my still-shaking frame. She lowered me onto a medical bed, her movements efficient and strong. "You've been through it. Captain Nino of the Stardust Wanderer. We found a distress signal." I managed a weak grin. Technically, my pod's distress signal spoke for me. "John Miller? And yeah, I've been through it." My eyes drifted over her, taking in the full spectacle. You crony are quite something." She chuckled, a rich, confident sound. "We like to think so. Humanity is renowned for its resilience and its appreciation for aesthetics." She gave me a slow, appraising look that made the blood rush to places other than my head. "Your pod was a wreck. Good thing we were nearby. We've notified your fleet. They'll be here in a few cycles." I sat up, testing my limbs. "A few cycles, huh? So I'm stuck here with you for a bit." It wasn't a complaint. This whole situation, from the sleek, dark gray and metallic control room with its glowing screens to the striking woman in front of me, felt like something out of a dream. Humanity might be the most advanced species in the galaxy, but we still hadn't figured out how to make distress signals this interesting. Nino leaned against a console, her expression unreadable. "Indeed. And while we wait, John Miller, there's no reason to be bored. Life is short, even in deep space. And you have a certain rugged charm about you." Her eyes, a deep luminous violet, held mine. Perhaps a spontaneous romantic escapade wouldn't go amiss. My brain, still a little fuzzy from oxygen deprivation and nutrient paste withdrawal, took a moment to process. A gorgeous cougar alien captain propositioning me within minutes of my rescue? This was either the greatest dream I'd ever had, or I was about to accidentally start an interspecies incident. But then I looked at her, at the confident curve of her lips, the way her silver outfit clung to her ample curves, and the adventurous glint in her eyes. Practicality suggested caution. Every fiber of my being screamed yes. "Captain," I said, a slow smile spreading across my face. "Lead the way. I haven't had a good escapade in far too long." She grinned, a flash of white teeth that sent a shiver down my spine. "Excellent. Follow me." She led me out of the bright, tech-laden control room and down a dimly lit corridor, the metallic walls reflecting the soft glow of emergency lights. We reached a door that slid open silently, revealing what I assumed were her private quarters. This wasn't the stark, utilitarian space I might have expected. Soft, plush fabrics in shades of violet and midnight blue adorned the walls, and a large, inviting bed dominated the center of the room. A gentle, undulating light source cast a warm, intimate glow. "Make yourself comfortable, John," Nino purred, her voice dropping to a seductive whisper. She moved with an easy grace, her hips swaying subtly. I find that humans, with their surprising blend of raw power and gentle touch, are quite captivating. I stood there, a little overwhelmed but mostly just eager. And crony captains, with their directness and incredible presentation, are equally captivating, I replied, my gaze lingering on her. She laughed, a low throaty sound that promised good things. Compliments already? You are a quick study, John Miller. She walked towards me, her eyes never leaving mine. The air in the room seemed to thicken, charged with anticipation. When she reached me, she placed a hand on my chest, her fingers warm against my skin. No need for formalities here, John. Just us. Her touch was electric, and I felt a primal thrum deep within me. I reached out, my calloused hand gently cupping her jaw, my thumb stroking her smooth lavender skin. Her outfit, so daring, suddenly seemed to invite touch, to explore the mysteries it barely contained. My roughish instincts, usually reserved for navigating asteroid fields or negotiating with shady traders, were now entirely focused on this beautiful, confident, mature woman. Us sounds perfect, I murmured, my voice a little rougher than I intended. I leaned in, unable to resist the pull. Her lips were soft, yielding, and tasted faintly of something sweet and exotic. The kiss deepened quickly, a hungry exploration that left no doubt about our shared desire. My hands found their way to the small of her back, pulling her flush against me. The silver fabric of her outfit felt cool against my skin, but the heat emanating from her body was undeniable. Her fingers worked deftly at the fastenings of my utilitarian flight suit, and soon it was pooling around my ankles. I returned the favor, my fingers tracing the edges of her corset, feeling the swell of her big chest beneath the tight fabric. The corset, designed for display, came undone with a surprisingly simple clasp. As the silver material parted, her full, perfectly round assets were revealed. I gasped, a surge of pure, unadulterated lust washing over me. They were magnificent. "Oh, John," she whispered, her voice thick with passion. Her hands moved lower, expertly finding and unfastening my belt, her touch sending shivers through my body. She glanced down, her eyes widening slightly as she took me in. "You humans are well equipped." I chuckled, a low, satisfied sound. "We aim to please, Captain." She pushed me gently onto the bed, following me down with a fluid grace. Her body was a revelation, firm, supple, and perfectly contoured. The high-cut bottoms of her outfit made it easy for her to straddle my hips, her lavender skin a stark, beautiful contrast against my own. Her hands moved over me, exploring every curve and muscle, eliciting groans I didn't know I could make. I pulled her closer, my hands cupping her firm, round buttocks, lifting her slightly, guiding her. Our eyes locked as she lowered herself onto me, a slow, deliberate movement that made every nerve ending in my body scream with pleasure. A soft groan escaped her lips as we connected, fully and completely. The sensation was overwhelming, a perfect blend of power and tenderness. We moved together, a primal rhythm taking over. Her blonde curls bounced as she rode me, her head thrown back, a look of pure ecstasy on her face. I gripped her hips, guiding her movements, matching her thrusts with my own. The bed creaked softly under our combined weight, a testament to the raw energy we were expending. Our breaths mingled, ragged and hot. The air was thick with the scent of aroused bodies, a heady mix of human and crony. Her moans grew louder, more frantic, as she neared her peak. I pushed up into her hard and fast, wanting to bring her over the edge with me. Her body tensed, her nails digging gently into my shoulders. "Yes, John! Oh, yes!" she cried out, her voice breaking on the last word as she convulsed around me, a wave of intense pleasure washing over her. Seconds later, I followed. My own climax, a powerful tremor that left me breathless and utterly spent. We collapsed together, her head resting on my chest, our bodies slick with sweat, the soft, undulating light casting long shadows around us. The silence that followed was filled only with our heavy breathing and the gentle hum of the ship. "Well, John Miller," she murmured, a contented sigh escaping her lips. "I believe that qualifies as an escapade." I wrapped my arms around her, pulling her closer. "It certainly does, Captain. Best damn escapade I've ever had." We lay there for a while, basking in the afterglow, the hum of the ship a gentle lullaby. Eventually, Nino stirred. "We should probably return to the bridge. We have duties, even after—" She trailed off, a playful glint in her eyes. I grinned, still feeling gloriously satisfied. "Right, duties." As we made our way back to the cockpit, a comfortable silence hung between us. I was still strapping on my flight suit when we entered the control room. Nino, ever the professional, had already smoothed out her silver uniform, though a faint flush on her lavender skin hinted at our recent activities. But the moment we stepped in, two young crony women looked up from their stations. They were just as stunning as Nino, also with lavender skin and wearing identical silver outfits. One, with her blonde hair pulled back in a high ponytail, stared at us with wide, curious eyes. The other, with long, wavy blonde hair, tilted her head, a knowing smirk playing on her lips. These had to be her daughters. "Mother," the one with the ponytail exclaimed, her voice bright. "We've been looking for you. Admiral Valerius from the human fleet just sent a preliminary hail, wondering about the status of the rescued individual." Nino cleared her throat, a tiny flush appearing on her cheeks. "Ah, yes, Kilo Tolan, this is John Miller, the human. John, these are my daughters, Kilo and Tolan." I offered a polite nod, feeling a sudden surge of self-consciousness. They had to have known. There was no way to hide the general vibe of just had hot alien sex from two keen-eyed young women. Tolan, the one with the wavy hair, sauntered closer, her gaze sweeping over me with an almost scientific interest. "So this is a human," she purred, a mischievous twinkle in her eye. She stopped directly in front of me, her height almost matching mine. "We saw you, Mother. We saw you claim the human first." Kilo, ever the more direct of the two, chimed in. "Indeed, the sensors on the medical bay were quite clear, and the energetic readings from your private quarters were impossible to miss, Mother." She looked at John, then at her mother, a competitive glint in her eyes. "But we want our time with him, too." My jaw dropped. I looked from Kilo to Tolan, then to Nino, who was now trying to suppress a laugh. This was unexpected. Even for me, a man who'd faced down space pirates and navigated nebulae purely on gut instinct. Nino crossed her arms, a playful frown on her face. "Girls, such directness, and such assumptions." But her smile betrayed her. "He is a guest on our ship, and a rescued one at that." "A very attractive rescued one," Tolan corrected, her eyes locking with mine. "We've heard tales of human stamina and generosity. We wish to experience it." Kilo nodded in agreement, stepping closer. "It wouldn't be fair for Mother to keep him all to herself, would it? We're all crony. We share. And humanity is the most advanced species in the galaxy, known for their unique qualities." I stood there, feeling like a very desirable piece of intergalactic real estate. These women were magnificent, and the idea was certainly intriguing. My rugged yet kind nature was battling with my practical side. On the one hand, this was a rescue mission, not a pleasure cruise. On the other hand, a man had needs, and these women were making a very compelling case. And frankly, who was I to argue with ancient crony tradition if that's what this was? Now, girls," Nino said, though her eyes were twinkling with amusement. "Let's not overwhelm our human guest. He's just recovered from drifting in space." She looked at me, a silent question in her gaze. I cleared my throat, trying to sound as composed as possible. "Well, I began, looking from Nino to Kilo and Tolan. I'm certainly not opposed to sharing. But let's be practical here. 1 human, 3 stunning crony women. We'll need a schedule, and maybe some ground rules. My protective side also kicked in. I wanted to make sure everyone felt respected and happy. And definitely some more of that nutrient paste. I'm going to need my strength. Tolan clapped her hands, a delighted sound. A schedule! Excellent! See, Mother, he's practical. We appreciate that. Kilo gave Nino a victorious look. We knew he'd understand. We picked up his mental signature from the pod. He radiates a certain openness. Nino sighed dramatically, but her smile was wide and genuine. Fine, but I get first dibs on the evening shift, since I did rescue him. And I did claim him first. Nope, Kilo piped up instantly. Fair is fair. We draw straws. Or since we're crony, we arm wrestle. Loser gets the morning shift. A hearty laugh boomed from my chest. This was beyond anything I could have imagined. Stranded, rescued, seduced by a gorgeous alien captain, and then propositioned by her equally stunning daughters. My life had taken an extraordinary turn. All right, ladies, I said, putting my hands up in a gesture of friendly surrender. I'm on board, but I'm going to need to learn a lot more about crony customs, for research purposes, of course. Nino winked at me, then looked at her daughters with a maternal pride that was truly heartwarming. Oh, you'll learn, John Miller. You'll learn plenty. The arrival of the human fleet a few cycles later was almost an anticlimax. Admiral Valerius expressed his relief, and then his absolute bewilderment when I informed him I wouldn't be returning to human space just yet. Captain Miller, with all due respect, what do you mean you're staying? The Admiral asked, his brow furrowed in confusion. I stood there, flanked by Nino, Kilo, and Tolan, all of whom were now wearing slightly more modest, but no less stunning, versions of their silver outfits, out of respect for the human dignitary. Admiral, I've found a new mission. Intergalactic relations. Cultural exchange. I gestured to the 3 lavender-skinned women beside me. And a deeply personal commitment to understanding the crony way of life. Nino slipped her hand into mine, a possessive yet affectionate gesture. Kilo and Tolan exchanged knowing glances, a shared excitement sparking between them. Admiral Valerius just shook his head, a bewildered smile playing on his lips. Well, if anyone could forge a new path in interspecies relations, it would be you, John. Just try not to start any wars. I grinned, feeling utterly content. Nope. Just a whole lot of love and understanding, Admiral. A whole lot of love. And as the human fleet warped out of sight, leaving me on the Stardust Wanderer with my new extraordinary crony family, I knew my life would never be boring again. It was going to be an adventure, all right. A heartwarming, hilarious, and definitely steamy adventure, shared with 3 incredible women who had decided that 1 human was precisely what their family needed. And frankly, I couldn't agree more.